Lightning in Elden Ring is probably one of the most slept on damage types. I love bonking and rivers of blooding as much as the next guy, but Elden Ring also enables you to get just as silly with elemental damage. Specific items can make you absolutely pop off, and I wanted to test the limits of this. So I decided to see how much I can break Elden Ring with lightning damage. Shred through the game by just bolting them down. I'm gonna be doing this with the DLC next, so make sure to like the video, subscribe so you don't miss out on that, and without further ado, let's break Elden Ring with lightning. The build really comes together and hits peak silliness a little later in the game. So for now, we're gonna grab the Claymore and our Ash of War Lightning Strike. The Golden Vow spell and Howl of Shabriri act as two crucial damage boosts for the run. And then in Volcano Manor, we need to do a bit of farming. Slap around these little fellas enough and you'll eventually get the Black Dumpling headpiece. Wearing this while proccing Madness gives you an additional 10% damage for 60 seconds. All of that and the Red Feather Branch Sword as a cherry on top makes pretty short work of the Liurnia Erdtree avatar, and this is without any lightning damage boosts. But this avatar gets us our first, with the Lightning Shrouding Crack tier. With only one talisman slot, this was the best we were gonna get from Margit, and it still demolished him. I dedicated my second slot to the Warrior Jar Shard for a boost to my Ash of Wars and skills for the run, and decided to take out the Godskin Noble next, for both the fat chunk of change he gives and access to a Somber 7 for later. My second Great Rune of choice was Rennala, as her boss fight takes place in water, which means all lightning gets a damage boost. And in typical Rennala fashion, she was a bit of a rat, but it was still an easy fight. With the third talisman slot unlocked, I grabbed the Lightning Scorpion Charm in Windham Catacombs, and completed enough of Millicent's questline that I could break Gowry's neck and get the Phlox Canvas Talisman for a boost to my incants. And now with Leyndell access, it's time lightning gets really silly. Unlocking Leyndell also grants you access to the Bolts of Grandsax. This weapon has the skill Ancient Lightning Spear, a purely lightning damage skill that can be so buffed to the point of absurdity. I completed Vare's quest to get Moog access to grab the Somber 10, and completed the build by grabbing the Godfrey icon for an even bigger boost. And I'll just let the Godfrey and Morgoth fight speak for themselves, with an unintentionally sick finale to the Godfrey fight.
Nice shot!
Fire Giant was the last boss before getting the best incants for this build, and he was the same build as Morgoth, just switching out Ritual Sword for RTSR. With Farum unlocked, I got myself the Ancient Dragon Prayer Book, and unlocked myself a pretty neat incantation. Bolts of Grandsax was still the best option for Radahn, but my god are the Ancient Dragon incants so fun to use. If you've never gotten silly with them before, I cannot recommend it enough.
Why don't you just fucking die already?
After cutting through a decent chunk of optional remembrance business, I decided to get through the rest of the mandatory game right up until Radagon, as after Godfrey I would actually need to respec.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
The respec was for the last few bosses, as the plan would change for these ones. Instead of sneaky little lightning spammer, I opted to take on the complete opposite strategy of Giga-tanking. Between the health pool of Rykard and the lightning resistances of the dragon remembrances, this was honestly a better way of dealing damage than trying to kill them before my buffs wear off. With them done though, all that was left was the big lady herself and the final boss. And for the final bosses, I pulled a sneaky strat, and that's diffing the shit out of them with this broken weapon. Stormhawk Axe gets a lightning buff if you use its Ash of War, so all the buffing still gives it a nice boost. It's also just absurdly fast, and you can really chunk down health a lot quicker than you would think. So it made quick work of the final bosses, and gave me a finale that was a little too clutch for me. But just like that, I had made Elden Ring my bitch with the power of lightning. The DLC is next, so let me know any additional buffs that I can find in the DLC. Sub so you don't miss it, and I'll see you in the next one.